So, welcome to the latest episode of the Talking Balls podcast. It's the snooker podcast. Comes out to you every Wednesday morning. I'm your host, Michael Wright. I'm Twitter Writer74, and my co-host, I can just see in my other window here, is Lee.
Hi everyone, welcome along. Looking forward to another episode.
And our guest today. So we're looking forward to finding out more about this man. And I'm not going to say too much because we're going to ask and we're going to find out as we go through. So we're going to have a nice chat. And our guest is, a five-time Lithuanian Snooker Champion, Vilius Schulte-Ebbert. So Vilius, nice to see you today.
Nice to see you too, guys. And I'm very keen to have a conversation with you and talk about snooker.
Great. So where are you today? Are you practicing? Are you coaching? What are you up to?
So today, my morning routine was I was doing some online marketing stuff on my snooker academy. And before the conversation with you, I had online coaching session with the guy from Saudi Arabia. And then I met you guys.
How does that work then, the online coaching? So would you take us through, are you able to do a lot on technique? I know you do a lot, you're thinking about mindfulness and psychology as well. I mean, what kind of things can you do online? That kind of distance coaching.
I think usually what I say to people that online coaching is suitable for intermediate and advanced players. The reason is that when there is a beginner player totally who cannot hold the cue, then of course you need live coaching because there is so many things going on, 50, 60 things. So it's almost impossible, on online coaching to fix that. But if the player is, let's say, 30 break plus and above, then it's totally possible to fix, one or two issues during the session, and then after some time to work and also fix one or two issues. So it's like a step-by-step process. So I would say it's like 80 to 70% effective as a normal session when you are with person. So that's what I think about online coaching. And if the person is totally beginner, then I would say maybe you can take classes in your home, and then when you are ready to take and you are above level, then we can work through.
And are you in a snooker hall now then, Vilius? It sounded like the background, you can hear some balls cracking around there, which is cool.
Yeah, I came to the club. I did some work online and then I had session. So, this is nice and quiet during afternoon. And I'm in the club right now.
So Vilius, you're in the club at the moment. Do you have a Russian billiards table in your club?
Yeah, yes, there is one Russian billiards table, so it's not a lot. But in other clubs, there are 2 or 6, 7 tables. And the club where I'm right now has most tables in Lithuania. So the club which has most tables in Lithuania, so they have 6 tables. So
yeah, I'm sure a lot of people, watching or listening to this have never heard of Russian billiards. But could you talk us through it? That they're very small pockets, aren't they, with very big balls?
Yes, balls are very big and pockets are very small. I'm going to share my thoughts about the game. It's completely different than pool and snooker or other, pocket billiards game. In my opinion, it has lots of limitations because compared to snooker or pool, there is not enough, let's say, complex situations. So basically, if you have amazing potting ability and, you have some instinctive feel how the cue weight feels because you need to put cue ball to the pocket, it's more like a youngster's game compared to others game like pool or snooker. Yeah. Where there is like more complex skill involved, not only potting, but, a precise cue ball control and lots of different situations every single frame. So that I would say pool and snooker is way more advanced to Russian billiards in my personal opinion.
Yeah, the only reason I asked was because I was in Lithuania and Vilius, and that was the first time I've ever seen a Russian billiards table. So I walked into the snooker club and I was expecting just snooker tables or maybe pool tables. And I seen the Russian billiards table with all the white balls on it, and I thought, what's this? So I watched it for a good 20 minutes. Two guys were playing, and it was fascinating.
I'm going to tell you one interesting story. In Kiev, when there was no war, 2 or 3 years ago, can remember there were some professionals, Michael Georgi, Jamie O'Neill, and Craig Stedman. So Jamie O'Neill and Michael Georgi played Russian billiards for the first time. So they tried to play the game like snooker, smoothly, you know, rolling balls, and they were struggling. Of course, it was like interesting. And in Russian billiards, you need to play with more power, because then if you're not potting straight to the pocket, you cannot, the ball cannot go through the pocket. Completely different game compared to snooker. It requires different kind of skills. But yeah, in my opinion, there is no comparison skill-wise to snooker or pool.
Yeah, it's changing the mood maybe, and I hope you don't mind this, Vilius, but you mentioned there Kiev, and it would seem a bit odd if we don't ask you about what's going on at the moment in Ukraine. Being that what's going on, you probably know there's going war there. Lots of people going to Lithuania to live, because you know, Lithuania is supporting Ukraine a lot, and you know, lots of refugees or, you know, people, relatives who live in Lithuania invited people from, you know, friends from Ukraine. And so lots of, you know, like you can hear Ukrainian language when you go in the city all over the place. Russian or Ukrainian, because, you know, 70% of Ukrainians speak Russian. So Lithuania has also some consequences regarding inflation. Right. Yeah.
So that's impacting us more than, let's say, UK.
Yeah. So you are seeing some direct impacts of it then, and I guess, I mean, for where you're at in your life age-wise, I guess you were born just after the breakup of the Soviet Union. A few years afterwards. So you've kind of always lived with an independent nation, I guess. Yeah,
I mean, I'm from the mixed family, German, Russian, Lithuanian, Ukrainian, so such a thing. So, you know, yes, I lived all my life in Vilnius, which is an independent country, and improved in especially recent years a lot. Now Lithuania is like a Western modern country, which has lots of possibilities to, you know, pursue your career if you are, let's say, hardworking and you have some interesting ideas to share with the market and people. So with Lithuania, they made lots of improvements, I would say, as a nation, from compared to 1990s, when after Soviet collapse, then there was like economical difficulties to live for many people.
Yeah, and what's the snooker scene like in Lithuania, and how did you get into it yourself?
Well, I started to play, like I will start with the pool, because I started to play when I was 10 years old, and first 5 pots I potted them. It was probably the fluke, but it gave me like a confidence to move forward. And then I said, okay, I just with my dad, you know, stepdad, I went to play once per month. And, you know, I was not terrible, but I was spotting balls. All right. So, but then I played basketball more like a professional as a teenager. Then I went to wrestling. And then since I was 15, I started to play pool and snooker a bit more seriously. And then I started pretty late, let's say 15. And then after 15 years old, I started to play snooker more seriously. And to, let's say, cover the loss through the years which I didn't play, I practiced like madman for first year, probably 8 or 9 hours per day alone without any opponent.
Wow.
And of course, yeah.
It's very much like Lee's path to snooker, and Lee's a good player. I don't know if he's told you, but Lee's a good player. I don't know, Lee, do you remember your days as a basketball pro and going into wrestling?
Yeah, I sort of skipped the basketball. I was really into my snooker, so I put basketball on the sideline. But I know Vilius, that basketball is really popular in Lithuania and Eastern Bloc.
Number one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So how popular is snooker? Is there a lot of snooker clubs in Lithuania?
Okay, so pool is pretty popular. So in Vilnius, there are maybe 12 clubs which has many pool tables. So, you know, if we talk about, you know, normal, like Lithuania pool scene has about average level compared to European standards. You know, so I played a pool in that scene as well. So, you know, snooker, because it's such a difficult game, and youngsters want to play more pool because it's easier to master. You get lots of good feedback after some practicing in snooker. To pot 8 break, you need at least, you know, 1 month or 2 months of daily practice. You know, is such a difficult game. So, and the other reason it's not popular, and the reason is that because it was popular maybe 2015 when the federation worked pretty decently, but after some time the organization level dropped down, and only because of our coaching with another coach, we are still maintaining some young people who are going into our practices and playing more or less okay standard. So yeah, could be better, could be better.
Yeah, I think World Snooker and the EBSA, those guys have really promoted snooker in the Eastern Bloc. You know, whenever there's been a European Championships, you know, it's been in Lithuania, Serbia, places like that, Romania. So I think they're doing their best to get snooker, you know, out there in the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah, they're doing their best, but still there should be a structure. First, they should start with the young people, inviting young people to the, you know, for free boot camps to train, do a certain marketing, but it's not up to EBSA. It's up to the local federation who is responsible to improve sport in the country. So those federations, let's say, which I think working pretty good, Belgium, Poland, maybe Hungary, they're doing pretty all right to increase popularity. Of course, those countries like Estonia, let's say, with Petrov or Latvia, Zizins right now, it's just crazy how they can win because, you know, Petrov, of course, has his own table and he's won before, and Zizins has a coach, my first coach, by the way, and they practice every day for 3-4 hours and 1-2 hours daily coaching. So there is no surprise that they, you know, going forwards with their, you know, success at European level.
And how are you enjoying the coaching? So, you know, you obviously can play and coach. Do you prefer one over the other, or is it more now you have more opportunities with the coaching?
Okay, so the reason why I went to the coaching, because when I was in the Star Snooker Academy in 2014, my expectation was that when I'm going to go to academy, I was, you know, at that time 90 break player. Okay, so I wasn't as a professional player like who can make, you know, 1-for-7s 2 or 3 times per day, you know. So I was expecting that the coach is gonna coach me and, you know, fix my, let's say, technical issues, which was mostly technical, and maybe share experience about, you know, shot selection, everything. And I didn't get that.
Right.
I mean, let's say I'm missing the long ball, and I'm missing always to the left, and I ask him the reason why I'm missing to the left, and he says, because, you know, you are, you know, because of your, let's say, alignment or aiming. And then he says everything the same to everybody because he doesn't want to get involved.
Okay, so not improving.
So that's, it's like a basic, like and that experience for me, it's good when you play against good players. Of course, you are improving, you are seeing something, you are copying, but there is not like a deliberate practice which you can actually like apply, and then you go play against better and you come back. So that thing, that, let's say, trauma allowed me to pursue coaching, because I want coaching become more sophisticated. And, you know, let's say if somebody comes to me and he has the actual things to work on, I want to improve his technical, mental and physical being to allow him to improve always. So that's the system which I am looking for when I'm improving all level players from beginners to advanced.
So how did you improve yourself, Vilius? Did you maybe improve yourself by watching Eurosport, because obviously Eurosport's a big product for snooker, you know, certainly in the Eastern Bloc. Were you self-taught?
I would say both, because let's say I'm watching Eurosport, applying something new, I'm getting results, but then I'm hitting a wall. Then I'm going to UK, let's say for Nick Barrow, to have some conversation about what makes me not improving. I'm getting some tweaks. Then, you know, somebody comes to Lithuania as a coach, like ex-Jimmy White coach Alan Bell. Then he gives me some advice about something. Then I try to apply something. And basically, the biggest problem plus for me that I got a few points of view, and then I combine those like intuitive mathematical ways, like both combination of both, of more like measured and more fluent ways of teaching and making like a perfect middle ground for the people. So that pain and good experience helped me to develop my style, you know, over the 7 years which I'm coaching right now. So since 2015.
And you're doing a lot on the YouTube as well, and on the social media, aren't you? I mean, I've seen some of the videos, some of the techniques. I was looking earlier at the blind pocket aiming for the corner pocket when you were getting the black into there, and you were explaining about how, you know, it can go around the jaws of the pocket. And
that was controversial. That was controversial for some people. You know, the reason was that many people play those shots too thin. So by explaining them to aim a slightly thicker, because the angle of the pocket allows to go in, that helped lots of people, especially live coaching, to see the angle better. So that was the reason behind the video, why I did this, you know.
Yeah, you seem to get quite different kind of amounts of views for the different videos. So I don't know why you know that is. Is it about promoting it? Or sometimes you've got some videos that are maybe 2,000, 3,000 views. You've got an average with a few hundred. And then on the surface, they look like they're similar. Do you get much feedback or people talking to you about the videos you put out?
Of course, I get the feedback. You know, somebody wants better audio quality, somebody wants a better picture, you know. You know, it depends what you want. If you want more exposure, more engagement, more views, of course you're gonna make a video with better edit, better sound, better video quality, and you're gonna make as simple as possible and concrete as possible. But not always you have a time to edit videos and make it a big picture. So make it a good picture. So you try to just explain a certain point, because, you know, there is a difference to make interesting for the real clients who are actually interested in improving snooker, and people who are just like a snooker as entertainment.
Yeah.
So, you know, most people who are watching YouTube videos are probably playing once per 2 weeks, once per week, and they are just trying by watching improve something, but actually doesn't work. So they need to work, and people don't want to work because it requires a lot of time to improve your skills. So I would say from the 1,000 views, maybe 1 or 2 people gonna send me a message and a request about the coaching, and maybe out of those 2 people, 1 person is gonna interested in certain coaching or the products, you know. So yeah, so it depends what do you want to achieve with the certain article or the video.
Yeah, and did you say at the start it was Saudi Arabia you had your latest coaching session with somebody in Saudi?
Yes, yeah, I had Saudi Arabia. Yes.
So you're getting quite a wide, you know, kind of wide geographical spread now in terms of who you're helping.
Yes, I had people from 43 countries in 3 years.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not talking about only online coaching. I'm talking about, you know, mentorship programs, PDF books, video courses, just messaging with the people about certain advices, you know. So yeah, the geography is pretty wide. Of course, the most popular requests I'm getting from Pakistan and India those lots of people snooker emerging countries, and of course UK and US at the moment for some reason.
All right. I wonder if that's to do with some of the people like Judd Trump and people like that playing in the pool tournaments. I've no idea, but I wonder.
I think maybe a small influence, but in general, more people are just interested in snooker because it's just getting overall exposure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you are promoting snooker and somebody is playing from European countries and they're living in, let's say, US for the work purposes or whatever, then, you know, maybe they buying tables for themselves, maybe they finding a club where they can play, and they want something, and there are not so many snooker coaches, pool coaches, and they want something extra.
It'd be great. Sorry, Vilius, it'd be great to sort of get an idea of your snooker, you know, what you're competing in, and, you know, the sort of, do you have leagues where you are in Lithuania, like snooker leagues, or is it just tournaments?
There is like national tournaments. They happen like 8 times per year, so such a ranking events. Then we have a Baltic Snooker League between Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, and before the war, Belarus. So we have such a league, and we have handicap leagues. We have weekend tournaments, 2 or 3 times per week. So we have 6 reds, we have 10 reds. So yeah, we have some tournaments. There are maybe 8 players who level-wise did century in the practice game. But they usually coming from the Russian billiards and pool circuit where are better levels. It's such a strange thing, but it is like that.
Yeah. So sort of regarding your performances in these events, I know you've played European Championships and stuff. That's got to be sort of one of the most prestigious tournaments you've played in. How is that for you, playing in those events?
I mean, the biggest issue, I would say that when you come into the tournaments, tables are so different compared to your club tables, and the throw effect and everything. You just need the time to adapt to new conditions, and just ball striking is a different story. So I would say it's a great experience. It's all fine, you know. It just, but the standard you play at your local club and the standard you play at those tables is it's like a day and night. Yeah. So if I just came to another place with the star table and practice, let's say 1 week before the tournament, it would be a bit different story. Maybe I can get through the, you know, last 16, maybe last 8. Of course, you know, still I need to practice and maybe take a coach for myself, because I don't want to analyze myself too much, because it just doesn't work like that. So, you know, somebody who can take care of me, you know, just to see what is going. It's such a big difference between being a player and coach is massive, you know. So you just have to go to the player's mode and not to be over, you know, analytical when you have to be with people who are you working on. Yeah. So yeah.
And of course, Vilius, 5 times Lithuanian champion as well. They must be very proud.
Yeah, I mean, 5 times it's a good number. Basically, I can stop playing and still be, you know, happy about that. I decided this year probably that, you know, I want to improve certain skills as a player until 30 years old. So maybe I'm going to give myself a push, maybe go to other countries to play more tournaments and take some coaching from other guys, because I believe that it would help me. And yeah, and continue to build a worldwide coaching structure, which hopefully is going to long-term give lots of benefits for people who want to be top-level professionals, or, you know, improve their professional status in the World Snooker Tour eventually.
And so is your company, is it Peak Performance Q Sports? Is that?
No, this is another company which is more related to the pool.
Oh, okay, the pool, right? Yeah. So
at the moment it stopped a bit, but my company is more like snooker per club, Vilius Schulte coach.
Yeah.
So this is two main companies which so Vilius Schulte is like my own personal brand,
Yeah.
and Snooker Pro Club is more like a, like a, it's also a coaching brand which represents me, but it's more like a business brand rather than personal brand. Yeah.
And you had a pretty nasty thing happen on your Instagram a few months ago, didn't you? With the
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago. It was interesting, like I was rushing to do my coaching session, and somebody sent me like some survey, and it was interesting because at that moment I posted almost a similar video to the Snooker Pro Club and Vilius Schulte Q Sports same video, and I thought that I did some copyright violation. So my mistake.
Yeah.
So it is my account, but Instagram is at these days so strict, so you never know why they are doing this, because I heard that of my friends, for no reason they are banning the ad company for 3 weeks, and they don't have any revenue for the 3 weeks, which is crazy. So yeah, I fill up the revenue, and the hacker said to me that, yeah, you have to give me 100 euros to come back the account. Of course, this is a scam. And then I sent a report for Instagram. I sent a report. I tried to do certain verification process, but the hacker was quick enough to decline everything. And basically he stole my account, which was already pretty big, 22K.
Oh.
Yeah, that was mentally tough for the 2 days, but that's the experience, and still the process going on. Instagram didn't do anything. Facebook cannot help. So I never wish to anybody who is working in such a stuff to get such a, experience. Of course, it was valuable experience regarding security and intellectual property issues, but yeah, that was the experience which I got.
Whoa, that's terrible. I can't believe that you can't get it back. If you can prove it's you, I can't believe they can't get it back.
Instagram is too busy with the 1 billion users, so why bother with the business account who has only 22,000? So they're gonna get into that issue maybe after 1 week, because they fired many people recently, so the process is just crazy slow, and they are using artificial intelligence, which is not efficient at the moment.
Yeah. And do you think they got in then by you doing the survey? Did you click on the survey? Is that how they got in?
Yeah, the hacker sent me a survey because of that. My mistake was, of course, my advice for you guys, if you're doing something like that, you just read carefully everything possible. I had the intuition that something is off, but because I was rushing to other stuff, I just did that, and that was a mistake, which it's just a cheap life experience mistake regarding work. So be careful, especially if you are growing and you're becoming a little bit more influential in that area. Do a double authentication, and make sure that you are securing your property, in this case, intellectual property, as much as you can.
Yeah, so it's a lot of connections you lose straight away, isn't it? It would take a long time to build that back up.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, it's tough one, because it is more like a business card. The people see your work, and they see that some people are getting benefits from it, and you're losing a bit traffic leads to your coaching thing. So yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it's well, so there's some good tips there for anybody who watches or listens. Really have to be very careful about what comes in and understanding what it is. It's pretty shocking. And I mean, fingers crossed that maybe someday it gets restored. Maybe it's going to take time, but
I mean, at this moment, it's like 50-50. Maybe it's going to be restored, maybe it's not. But that experience gave me some other ideas in my, let's say, service. I improved my service. I just thought how I can improve my service with the current clients. It is regarding the follow-up, regarding the improvement, and that's giving already pretty good results, because it is helping them to see their blind spots, what to do, how to do, and for what reason to do. And yeah, I'm happy with the new insights. So always, guys, remember that after each mistake, you can get new insights, because it just allows you to see other picture.
That's it. That's it. If you were being really positive, you'd say that there's no such thing as a mistake. It's just another life lesson and helps you to move on. If you were going to be really nice about it and positive.
Yeah.
And you say about the mental side of the game and the the kind of the mindfulness, that approach. Do you spend a lot of time with players thinking about that side of the sport? When we talk to players on here a lot,
okay,
that does come up quite a lot, I think.
I'm not gonna say anything new. The higher the level, the more mental it becomes. Because when the guys who are, let's say, high amateur players or professional players, but in my case more like a high amateur players, they have very high expectations about performance. So they are very results driven, and sometimes they can forget the process going on. So mentally it means lots of guys trying to be over technical, so they are losing touch with their senses and their natural abilities. So you try as a coach to combine that technical thing, which is not too analytical, but at the same time you cannot be over natural, because then you use a touch what is actually happening.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult, isn't it? To separate what you're thinking about your technique, because when you're down on the shot, you're thinking about your technique and what you need to do, and it's very hard to separate that from just playing snooker. Yeah,
the best approach is, of course, you're confident, you're at the moment, you are sensing what is right and what is not, and you just try to feel like you have intuitive understanding what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So that's of course like a flow state, which everybody wants to get, like sort of like Ronnie, who is at the moment very relaxed and he doesn't care. So this is the best way to approach the game, when you don't care, but at the same time you care, like such a nonchalant way, like you're walking in the park. But
yeah, like a Mark Williams.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
like a Mark Williams.
Exactly. And the guys who just get to the tour or try to win European Championship, and the money is the issue, because they are maybe from the mid-class families, and they losing 5 times first round. How possibly you can relax when there is your survival is on the line?
So what's your thoughts about that, Vilius? For the professionals, like, would you like to see some money being paid for players in the first round, prize money?
First of all, yes, because for the sponsors, it would help raise the level of the lowest ranked players. So pragmatically, that's a good idea, because they will play better standard. The more people gonna watch, and the more revenue they're gonna get from the TV companies or sponsors. They just gonna have more traffic. So opportunity is a huge opportunity to raise the level of the amateur game, because let's think about why the amateur game is not improving as much as professional game. So when you think about the professional game, the reason why it's improving, because there is getting a sponsorship, and the overall prize money is increasing, and that's why the top 64 players are growing fast.
Yeah.
But the amateur game is not getting exposure because there is no money involved. So if you want to long-term improve the structure of the amateur game and standard, you need to have a decent pro arms events consistently, with, let's say, like in Leeds, Norfolk Center, like with 2,000, 3,000 pound winner prize, which gonna motivate youngsters to at least put some time on. I would say in my opinion, snooker must follow tennis structure. Make different events from the mid-range, low rank, and high rank players, and that will help not only grow the game in Western Europe, UK, but in the whole across the world, because people are gonna think, okay, I play amateur, I can get some money, I'm not gonna starve, but if I'm gonna get to the professional level, maybe I can get even more. So the world snooker has to think more like pragmatically from the what it could get them. That's my thinking.
Yeah, I suppose at the end of the day, it really comes down to grassroots snooker, doesn't it? And getting kids in the clubs playing.
Yeah, but
handicap tournaments.
Sportsman has to be responsible, because at the moment they are pretty quiet. They're not speaking. Because there is maybe some restriction in the contract that you cannot speak badly about world snooker or whatever. But I don't see a problem to speak of very concrete issues. Let's say infrastructure, why all events are happening only in UK qualification rounds. So why guys from Europe has to pay tickets, which can cost from 200 to 500 euros return ticket, and then they have to stay in hotels, pay same amount, and then at the end of the day they have no money left because of expensive. And the UK guys who can stay at their parents or at their home have almost no expenses. They can play without pressure.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, and as we've seen, Vilius, a lot of the Chinese players, there's so many Chinese players in the game, and they've had to move to the UK, to pursue their career. So yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah,
so the structure, there should be fundamental change in the structure. The structure is the key to improve the overall level of snooker and make it more attractive. And overall snooker players should be approaching like a Ronnie approach, physical, mental, going deeper into that department. At the same time, working on technical stuff, which is also important, but just making a snooker lifestyle attractive, make it more sexy for the, let's say, woman. When I would say she must see the snooker guy and say, oh, I want to be married to the snooker guy because his lifestyle is so awesome. So, and at the moment, we're getting lots of high quality players which are not charismatic, and they are outside snooker, they are pretty boring to watch. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's interesting, is it, that perception there. There's also, obviously, there's the women's game as well, and we've talked a bit about this before, about some of the players coming onto the main tour, if you like, and the difference in ability there. I think Mark King the other week was kind of quoted on social media for some comments he made about them not likely to make 147s. I don't know if you have any views on that, Vilius. We talk a lot about the men's game, but of course, more and more there's a push to try and get more women involved at that level. Do you see any of that in your circles?
Snooker has to become as a culture, not a sport. The reason why the snooker improved in the 80s and 90s, because snooker was more like a social gathering spot where people can spend time after the work and have a great time. At the moment, they don't have such a thing. Snooker became only a sport. So sportsmen who are speaking about the standard play, they're speaking from their perspective. I play good, I can make 147s. Women cannot make 147s. That's the fact, okay? But women have to be comfortable to have. They have to have the practice facilities. They have to have a specific coaches, because you cannot coach women same as the man, because the psychology is working a bit different, and they have to get a fundamental support from the, clubs, from the government, from the world snooker. There should be some money involved. Like it should be like investment to the women's snooker. And it's how possibly women can compete with the man if she's alone. Ronnie Evans, like it's tough. If there were like 20, 30 women, around, then it would be much easier, because each of other can support each other and in that case improve the game. They are more than capable to win the games. Just the infrastructure is not on their side. Simple as
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, there's so many great lady snooker players, you know, but it's very early for them. You know, they're just coming on to the professional tour. So it's got to take a few years before, there's more women and also that they're more comfortable on tour.
And long term, it's going to attract new sponsors, because if the game looks beautiful, I mean, I'm talking about the dress code. I'm talking about just the fact there's a woman around and there is some charm around the table. It is just beautiful to watch.
Yeah. So you mentioned the dress code there. How do you like the dress code as it is at the moment? You know, bow tie, waistcoat, or would you rather a more relaxed approach to the game?
It just depends what kind of event you play.
Yeah.
It just depends. I mean, we have to understand, does actually dress code does, in my opinion, a bit more relaxed dress code, it's a good idea, because it just gives you a more like a casual vibe, and maybe some young guys gonna see, okay, you know, I don't want to play with ties, maybe it's the game I could play subconsciously. But at the same time, tie and everything is like it's a business card of snooker. So I think that Triple Crown events has to have like a tie dress code.
Yeah.
But other events should be like golf approach. Let's say, you know, it should be smart, but at the same time a bit casual. It's like, I don't know how to explain, but you know, like keep the strict dress code for the main events, but for the more like mid-range, low-range events, keep a bit more casual.
Yeah, because obviously, yeah, snooker travels, you know, to many other places, and you'll know yourself, you know, when you got a bow tie waistcoat on, it's very warm, so it's very restricting. So it'd be better maybe with a polo shirt. It'd be easier to play snooker.
Yeah, it should be like maybe all dark or all I don't know, other color, something like that. It should be looking good, and that it should be, you know. But sometimes when you watch snooker players, so when you get a bit, you know, when you get a bit heavier, it is really difficult to keep yourself tied up like shirts into the pants and make it more like looking better. The guys who are a bit heavier, it is very difficult. And with the polo shirt, it is way easier to, you know, manage that.
Yeah.
So that's from the practical standpoint.
What else are you doing, Vilius? So we've learned a lot about kind of you as the 5-time Lithuanian Snooker Champion, the coaching business. Do you have time for anything else? Sports, hobbies, interests?
Yeah, outside snooker, I have family, so that's another job, taking care of family, playing with kids, you know, making wife happy. But compared to other activities, I'm very keen into self-improvement. This means nutrition, education in other areas, business, mindfulness, in communication skills, marketing, you know, other sports. I play basketball, so basketball is one of my hobbies. Running was a hobby like 5 years ago. At the moment I stopped, you know. So yeah, so my life is around snooker, family, sports, business, you know, reading books, friends, you know. I'm just trying to cover the most important areas which have influence in our lives.
And if anybody watching or listening wants to find out more about how to get some support with you and get in contact, what ways do you prefer? How should they get in contact with you?
I mean, I'm open to social media. You can write down on WhatsApp. You can write down on PM Facebook or on the page. You know, if somebody, you know, wants to reach me out for advice about pool or snooker game, you just can freely text me about, just present yourself, text what do you looking for to improve, and I'm more than open to help you out.
That's great. So if we'll kind of wrap up in a second, but if you were to, maybe look at the next year and say what you'd like to achieve or where you'd like to be, do you think in that way? Do you set yourself goals?
Yeah, of course. It's not, I'm just going to tell broadly, what I think,
Yeah.
I just maybe want to get into more countries. So if somebody invited me outside, I've been to other countries, but, I want to be invited to more countries because I believe that I'm helping people a lot. And, I'm, as a coach, very young, but I'm sure that I can help a lot of people to improve their abilities. And I think they will be very happy to improve their games. So that's the goal, to get to more countries. Another goal is to improve my local players to 50, 60, 70 break standard. I think some players would achieve this year. I think that's very important to improve young generation players, because that's one of my maybe, my sole goals, because I like to improve young people who are talented enough and have a good work ethic. And of course, long term, maybe this year, maybe next year, open my own academy, like in Victoria's, and make it not only that there are good conditions and good players, but actually build a coaching structure where people all around the world can come and they are gonna get a full education. That means not only coaching, but they could get a good nutrition plan, or they can get a good exercise plan, so they could develop themselves as a all-around player, mentally, physically, technically. So that's more like my bigger goal, which I see. That requires lots of time, resources, sacrifices, and in our market in Central Eastern Europe, it is a little bit complicated to do. But if we want the game to expand, we have to do something about it.
Yeah, it sounds exciting, but also you seem to be kind of ahead of the game in the thinking by the way you use the online side of things as well. So almost there's that aspect of you could almost build an academy in a center, but you're also able to reach out to people all across the world. So you've got a clear vision by the sound of it. And
yeah, and the most important thing, that the vision is not all about me and my goals, but it's all about the community. I would say the most important thing is to help other people to improve their games. If other people happy, that means the game is going to grow. And yes, if you have a clear vision and you have a decent plan, more or less decent plan, even if you make mistakes, you can still reach your goal after some time. Yeah, but you have to be very open-minded, and you have to take heavy losses with grace.
Well, there you go. And that's a lesson for life, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wish the snooker players my advice would be educate yourself outside snooker and just try to have lots of fun outside snooker, just enjoying life. Not enjoying, leisure holidays, but just try to improve yourself in other areas that will help your snooker a lot. I am sure.
Yeah, well, let's keep that. And Lee, as someone who plays as well, maybe there's some things here you might take away and have a think about. I'm not saying you have any weaknesses or problems, but maybe there's some good tips there.
Listen, we all have we all have blind spots, we have good spots, and it's good to laugh at yourself and just have a thick skin, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take a banter,
Yeah.
You live from Scotland, yeah?
Yes. played in European Championships and things like that. My first European Championship was in Vilnius, so it was a beautiful
2016,
place.
yeah.
Yeah, 2016. Yeah, that was my first European Championships, and to this day, it's the best venue that I've ever played in. It was in the concert hall.
Yeah, Compensa.
Yeah.
It was pretty hot. Yeah. And they did a pretty good job, you know, to making snooker environment decent, you know, not like in Albania. Sorry about Albania, but it was, oh my God, it was just in the garage, you know.
Yeah, it was very, very warm, very warm.
It's not about warm, but just the way they approach. Can you believe that one day before the tournament, before the junior tournament, they decided to make a tables, and one pocket size is smaller compared to other part of the table, both.
Oh, wow.
So
what? Crazy.
I came to the office and said, listen, 14 table has big issues. The pocket size is like Russian billiards, and the, you know, corner pockets it's like a normal size. Do something about that. And then it was rolling some parts like that. I'm not talking about a little bit, I'm talking about crazy curve, you know.
I think maybe because they've set the tables up so quick, then the tables set a little bit, and you get rolls. So yeah, maybe that.
The
Not
tables
good.
were the slowest I ever played.
Yeah,
because
very
it was
humid.
It was humid, and I was watching Florian Nusles and Ben Mertens final. So I'm watching, and there is some like somebody did a toilet, and there was like some mess going through the. It's just. I'm thinking about what the hell is happening, you know. I mean, everybody were talking about that, but the office didn't do anything about that, so that's disappointing from the organization standpoint.
Yeah, it was that tournament you're talking about, just Albania, that's just passed.
Yeah, where the Petrov won the Europeans and Mertens won, you know,
Yeah.
under 21s, and Poland won, you know, teams.
So it was maybe a good one for me to miss. That's my first one that I've missed since 2016. So maybe a good one.
It's a good one because the hotel was okay, the pool was closed, the beach was closed, but it was underground, and one part of the venue was 24 degrees, and another part of the venue was humid 27 degrees.
Wow.
So I mean, for the players who are playing on the quick conditions, and it was mentally very, very challenging. I mean, I saw how they were struggling with the ball striking.
Yeah.
So they lost confidence. Some players did actually.
Yeah.
I saw some of the pictures of the venue, and it looked like almost like an underground garage, like a car park or something. It made me think of Fight Club.
It is a car park. It is a car park. They just put carpet on.
Ronnie O'Sullivan doesn't have to worry about toilet noises when he's playing in the World Championship, you know.
Yeah, but Ronnie is, you know, he's in privileged position to negotiate any conditions he wants to negotiate. So so he's the box office, so he can say, clean my legs if you want to. So I'm joking, of course. You got the point.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're quite right. Yeah, there's almost a hierarchy really in the game in terms of where the players are at and where the game functions around. Really, certainly at the top level.
Yeah, so it's nothing bad about hierarchy. Does it actually help to improve the game or not? If it's not improving the game, then you have to change something. If the lower ranked players suffer mentally and they're going to work as a cashier in the Tesco, this is not good. Let's say Eden Sharaf, I was talking with him and I asked him, so what you gonna do right now after the championship? You didn't win the championship, and he told me about that. It is really tough mentally, so he doesn't have where to go, you know. He's staying at an apartment and he doesn't have income. It's just the guy was in the semifinals 4 years ago, and at the moment he's in the very bad position.
Oh, gosh.
No money, no family, no apartment, nothing. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear about the players who fall off the tour and then come back like hero stories, but we don't hear so many about the players who maybe fall off the tour and find it really hard and never come back. They almost can be forgotten.
Like Kasper Filipek, he's from the very poor family background. He fell off the tour 2 times, and after the second attempt, he decided it was too tough because there was no sponsorship. That not all guys are talkative and can find sponsors like that, you know. And the guy who has a lot of ability decided to quit the game. I mean, it is a loss, you know.
Yeah.
Massive. And yeah, this is like a structural problems. I think the tour has to be more. I think people think that the tour has to have less players. I would say it should have double the size of the players, and it should be not all players have to play in all events. Some better players can pick and choose. Lower rank players have to have more opportunities to play against each other and just get not only prize money but confidence back, and that overall it's just going to make the game so much better standard wise. It's going to be way more interesting to watch as a fan and spectator.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot on here, and you know, we've had Jason Ferguson on a while ago, and we asked him a bit about it. You could almost justify almost like a tour, a main tour, and then a tour 2 or something, where almost you get promoted onto the tour or relegated onto tour 2, but there's still money, there's still status, there's still interest, still get television watching some of the games. But it's, I guess, as you say earlier, it's more about where's the power, where's the sponsorship coming from, who's the attention on. But there's a lot to think about. I think what's been really interesting hearing from you, Vilius, is obviously some of the same issues we talk about in this country about the sport, but also how you're thinking about the development of it in other territories, if you like. And really encouraging people who are showing the interest to grow the sport bigger and bigger, really. And that seems really cool.
Of course. So I'm just thinking logically, if the guy gets into main tour, he has to have enough income to support himself and the family. If the guy is outside 64, he is losing money. The tour, I mean, I'm not talking about right now because of the COVID in China, but before China, the overall cost with the hotels, apartments, training, food, and everything cost 20K. So how possibly you can be relaxed when you, as a player, losing first rounds, getting 0 and feeling relaxed? It's just impossible, because survival is, you have to survive somehow. So what about to get, I don't know, maybe £1,000 for the first round winner is just gonna make such a big difference. I mean, it's just gonna cost, like, overall it's not that much money, you know, to think through. It's just £1,000 for that, and it's gonna make such a big difference. You're gonna see so much better play. Trust me.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think we're on the same page, Lee. I think we probably agree with you, and we
absolutely.
Certainly, Peter Devlin came on a while ago, and he was very kind of telling us a lot about the pressure and almost how his season was coming down to 1 or 2 tournaments, or else what was the point almost. It's really sad, but I feel like there's a lot we kind of could talk about. It's really interesting. I think maybe we'll maybe talk again at some point in the future, when see how you're getting on, see how the coaching goes and the way the sport kind of emerges.